What's up, guys? Jordan McAbee here, fantasyracingonline.com, home of the Slingshot Fantasy Auto Contest, and today we're making fantasy picks for Sonoma and the Toyota Save Mart 350. We're back to normal road course racing. You're going to hear me say that term if you read any of my articles this week. I'm going to talk about that term a lot. So we get away from, for those that are new to fantasy NASCAR, over the last year and a half or so. Before NASCAR started racing at the Rovals and Circuit of the Americas and Road America, I think they have coming up. It was the only two road courses on the schedule were Sonoma and Watkins Glen. So that used to be it. So getting back to normal is kind of what we're getting at this weekend. Getting back to Sonoma. Haven't raced here since 2019. The Cup Series didn't race here last year due to COVID. And so these are a little bit different than the Rovals. They're getting up to high speeds. The cars will get up to decently high speeds, but not like on an actual oval like they do at the Daytona Road Course or the Charlotte Roval and races like that. So it will be interesting, though, to see how that speed kind of translates. Obviously, if you're a good road course racer, it should translate to running well at any of them. But something you have to remember this year is, or with the races this year, so we basically had 3 road course races in 2021. Started off with the Busch Clash at Daytona, the Daytona Road Course. Kyle Busch won it, had the best green flag speed that race. Sherex had the second best green flag speed. I think he racked her, if I remember right. Hamlin was solid all night. That's when Tyler Reddick really showed up for the first time as a road course racer. Really, we didn't see a lot of him last year as far as speed-wise on the road courses. So that was the first time that he kind of surprised, and then, he looked very good at Circuit of the Americas as well. And I'm pretty sure he was strong in the actual race at the Daytona Road Course. Byron was up there, and then, Chase Elliott was in the position to win at the end, but finished second. So that was the first road course race of 2021. The second was the regular season race of at the Daytona Road Course. And if you remember that back to that one, it kind of got really screwy about halfway through, 3/4 of the way through. Lots of wrecks, lots of people screwing up. I know at one point Kyle Larson was up there running top 5 and wrecked or went off course. Same with Kyle Busch. Same with Chase Briscoe. He didn't have power steering all race. He was running top 10 at the end, and then his hood came up and flew on his car and ended up with Christopher Bell in victory lane. Joey Logano finished second. Denny Hamlin third in that race. Hard to really, put a ton of stock into the speeds from that race, but they're on the screen here. Christopher Bell had the best green flag speed in that race. Truex Hamlin. So you notice that you're kind of noticing a trend here. The Busch Clash race, top 3 in green flag speed: Kyle Busch, Truex, Hamlin, JGR. Top 3 in green flag speed at the Daytona Road Course regular season race: Bell, Truex, Hamlin, JGR. Go back. And then we had Circuit of the Americas, which was just an absolute shit show. And honestly, I'm not even considering the data from that race. It was an embarrassment on all accounts, and there is no viable data in my mind for that race, or from that race. I don't see any reason to look at the numbers. I'm pulling them up because that's what I do. I provide data in case anybody wants it, but I wouldn't recommend putting any stock into it. not only was the race a complete joke, but it was ran in the rain the whole time. So, yeah, it doesn't translate well. So, that's just my opinion on that. But, like I said, the 2 races at the Daytona Road Course this year, JGR has had the fastest cars each time. Looking at Sonoma, so they haven't raced here since 2019. This is a career green flag speed ranking. Kurt Busch, number 1. Truex, AJ Allmendinger, who's not racing this week. And then Harvick, Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, which is a little surprising, up there. If we go back and look at 2019, let me pull up 2019 real quick, and we'll just go back and look at that Sonoma race. I know it was Truex in victory lane, and is that the one that Chase Elliott blew an engine? Green flag speed. Okay. Yeah, that's when Chase Elliott blew an engine. So he finished 37th. Should have been in contention to win. But Truex won. He's won the last 2 races here at Sonoma. Kyle Busch finished second and also had the second best green flag speed. Surprisingly, Matt DiBenedetto was very strong in that race. But again, he was in you have to note he was in that 95 car for Levine. So again, we have Gibbs, DiBenedetto in, quasi-Gibbs. Even Eric Jones finished 8th, Gibbs. Hamlin 5th, Gibbs. What I'm getting at here is Joe Gibbs Racing is very good at road courses. This weekend, let's take a look at the starting lineup. So I don't really have my typical, this is going to load slow. Why is this loading slow? Come on. I knew I should have done my computer updates. There we go. All right, so we got Larson on the pole, Chase Elliott, William Byron, top 3, Hendrick. Then the Gibbs cars of Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch starting 4th and 5th, Austin Dillon 6th, Alex Bowman 7th, Kevin Harvick 8th, Brad Keselowski 9th, Tyler Reddick 10th. Notables starting deep in the field. Martin Sherex Jr. starting 19th, Christopher Bell 20th, Chase Briscoe starting 25th, Ryan Preece starting 27th, Kurt Busch starting 30th. Ben Rhodes is in that 77 car that's typically driven by Justin Haley. He's making his Cup debut this week, and then the only other replacement or non-normal driver is Scott Heckert in the 78. I think he's ran all the road courses for BJ McLeod in that 78 car this year. Going to the algorithm predicted finishing order, no surprise, Chase Elliott's projected to win. We can look at his stats. By the way, so this is driveraverages.com. This is my, not my go-to website, but it isn't. It's my go-to website for very quick stats. So the deeper, like loop data stats, obviously you're not going to get them here at Driver Averages. But if I want to quickly look at finishes, driver rating, starts, starting position, I come here and let me do this again. So you come over here on the left. I really like it. I really like this website for road courses, and I'll show you why. So come over here to go to averages by track type on the left, and then click road course. This website's also very slow sometimes. So, and this is going to give you all the drivers' stats on road courses. So it filters it for you. So it's very useful in that sense. So let's take a look at Chase Elliott here. You look at just absolutely ridiculous. So obviously he won at Circuit of the Americas. He had the best car at the Daytona Road Course this year. He led 44 of the 70 laps. Finished 21st after it got all screwy. He won the Charlotte Roval last year. He won the Daytona Road Course last year. He won the Charlotte Roval 2019. He won Watkins Glen 2019. He probably could have won Sonoma 2019. I mean, clearly the best road course racer in the series right now, and it's hands down not even close. The only other driver that you could possibly make an argument to even being in Chase Elliott's close to the same stratosphere as, or whatever you want to call it, as Chase Elliott, would be Martin Truex Jr. So even if you come here and sort by driver rating, nobody is in triple-digit driver rating other than Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. Truex, he, obviously wrecked at Circuit of the Americas, hasn't won since Sonoma in 2019, which is a bit interesting, but still should be, very solid. It's hard to count Truex out. But every time we race at road courses, like those are the two guys to beat. And it's really like it's like last week at where the hell did they just race? Wow. It's late. I started this video late. Charlotte. Yeah, jeez. Charlotte. Kyle Larson was a complete no-brainer. It was a put him in your lineup and don't think twice. Kyle Larson was a no-brainer at Atlanta. Put him in your lineup, don't think twice. It's the same thing here at Sonoma and at Watkins Glen and at other road course races. You just roll with Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. Unless you have them have a mechanical issue or they wreck out, they're going to be a contender to win for sure. They're the heavy favorites every single time. They're just that good. So you look at the algorithm predicted finishing order here. Chase Elliott is by far the favorite. Part of that has to do with, we just looked at Martin Truex Jr. and he's kind of struggled a little bit recently. So algorithm's taking that into account, as well as the fact that he starts mid-pack back in 19th. So that's probably the reason, for there being such a gap here in the power index between the two. But they're still, they're the top two favorites. Chase Elliott should probably lead the most laps on Sunday, unless, Kyle Larson. That's about the only other competition I'd say Elliott has as far as most laps led would be Larson, who's on the pole. But we typically see Larson kind of fade in the second half of races, in road course races. That's when he was with Ganassi. So all the Sonoma data we have with Larson was with Ganassi. Obviously, he's in a better car. He's looked a lot better on road courses than we're used to this year. So he could definitely win again. It wouldn't be surprising. And he could definitely lead the most laps. But there's no doubt that Chase Elliott is going to be a contender in this race unless he has some kind of catastrophic failure. Third, projected to finish third is Kyle Busch. I actually really like Kyle Busch this week. I bet on him 9-1 earlier today. I think he has a strong shot at winning. And I really like those 9-1 odds as opposed to, Chase Elliott, who's at like 2.5-1, or Truex, who's at 4-1. Denny Hamlin projected to finish fourth, William Byron fifth, Larson sixth. Those three are all really close. You look at the number here, all within a half of a point in the power index. So you could switch them up however you want. They could all could finish top three. Got Alex Bowman projected to finish seventh, Kevin Harvick eighth, Logano ninth, and Christopher Bell 10th. A couple noteworthy drivers in this algorithm predicted finishing order. Chris Buescher projected to finish 13th. Don't be too surprised by that. He's actually really good on road courses. And obviously that team is running really well this season. So you look at not even his recent road course races, ever since he got out of Furniture Row in 2016, Chris Buescher's been a top 20 driver at road courses every single race. So this year, finished 11th at Daytona Road Course, 13th at Circuit of the Americas, finished 5th at Daytona Road Course last year. Just a solid road course racer, and obviously the algorithm really likes him this week compared to normal. I actually wrote that in the article. If you read it, how Buescher's actually projected higher than Brad Keselowski this week. So how often do you see that outside of maybe a super speedway race? But even then, Keselowski's usually, solid in the projected with super speedway races at Daytona and Talladega. But you look at, recent races from Keselowski at road courses. Yes, he finished 5th at Daytona Road Course this year and 19th at Circuit of the Americas. Again, we're not really paying attention to Circuit of the Americas. I'm just throwing it out there because it's a number and that's what my brain does. But, going 2017 to 2019 and even 2020, 1 top 5 finish at Charlotte Roval, 2 top 10s total, and the rest are all teens. So obviously Keselowski isn't really performing as we'd expect. Not to say he couldn't this weekend, but definitely interesting to see him projected to finish 14th. Got Michael McDowell, who's always a sleeper, at road courses, as is Cole Custer. I really like Chase Briscoe as well. We're going to get into the picks in a little bit, just kind of going through, this projected finishing order. Eric Jones is another one that I wrote up in this algorithm article. He was really good. Obviously, in Gibbs equipment, he's going to be good. Anybody can be good in Gibbs equipment at road courses. Solid top 10 in most of his starts in that 20 car. But, he came over to this 43 team, finished 8th in the Clash, finished 14th at Daytona Road Course, and then 16th in that wacky Circuit of the Americas race. It's noteworthy, though, because 2 things. 1, Eric Jones started 37th at Daytona Road, the regular Daytona Road Course, and still finished 14th. He started 29th at Circuit of the Americas, still finished 16th. He's starting, I think, 16th this week, or 18th. Eric Jones is starting 18th this week. So what this tells me is he's not getting the top 10 finishes, obviously, with Richard Petty Motorsports, but those teens finishes and that solid finish in the Clash are noteworthy because, road courses take driver talent more into equation than equipment. Equipment's still important, but driver talent comes more into the equation than it would at Charlotte, or somewhere, the other tracks that we race at. So that's why I actually kind of like Eric Jones this week. I think he's an option in fantasy overall, and noteworthy. And obviously, the algorithm, it's pulling a lot of data from when he was in Joe Gibbs Racing Equipment. It also pulls in data from the actual car that they're in now. So to still be projected to finish 16th, I think is pretty solid as far as the algorithm goes this week. As far as let's see, not really anybody else that I really want to hit on other than those few. I don't have my typical spreadsheet open like I normally do, just because so basically, like, with how wacky the 2 races this year have been on road courses, I don't even really want to like obsessively look into those numbers, especially Circuit of the Americas. So then we're looking at 2020 data and then 2019 data, with when we actually raced at Sonoma and all that. So I go back to I'm pulling up my, this is my DraftKings article from the Daytona Road Course back in February, because that's where I had a chart that compiled the 2019 and 2020 stats. So that included the races, the road course races specifically from the 2019-2020 seasons, which included one Sonoma race and Watkins Glen, plus Charlotte Roval, plus what they run in 2020. I think they added I think it was just Charlotte Roval and then Daytona Road Course, I believe. Yeah. So just to have some kind of chart to look at, again, average driver rating, 2019, 2020, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., William Byron was actually pretty high, and that was when he was not really finishing. So now that he's got that down and is solid, no reason to think he won't be a top 5 contender this week. Kevin Harvick was solid 2019, 2020. Hamlin, Blaney, Larson, a lot of the same drivers finish up front. Like there's a reason I really like road course races, and it's because these are very predictable. Unless we get like a Circuit of the Americas where it just turns into a shit show, or we get Daytona Road Course where everything just goes wild, or the Charlotte Roval race where like half the field didn't turn in turn 1 and just flew into the wall. Like stupid shit like that, you can't. It's going to make it unpredictable. But if a race goes as expected and is clean, relatively clean, these races are very predictable. These road course races. So as far as slingshot picks this week, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr. are the highest priced drivers. They're the 2 best drivers. The safest pick in this field would be Martin Truex Jr. He starts 19th. He should finish at least top 5, if not challenge for the win. And that's going to give him a massive point score in the slingshot contest. So as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be very difficult for me not to roster Martin Truex Jr. just because of that place differential. What comes into play is if you think, if you want to roster Chase Elliott and Martin Sherex Jr. because of their price, it kind of makes it a little bit difficult. Or if you want to take the route of, I think you have to have at least one of them, in my opinion. You have to have at least Chase Elliott or Martin Sherex Jr., preferably both. They're the best options. Chase Elliott is probably going to be, he could easily win both stages and the race. I think, they're the no-brainer picks. Don't think about it. Don't overthink this. But if you're just going to go with one, so obviously the safer option is going to be Truex, place differential, 2 points per position, could win the race. He could have a huge day. Chase Elliott probably has higher stage point potential, so he could make up those place differential potential. He obviously doesn't have place differential. He starts second. The highest he can go is first. So the max place differential points he could get is 2. So safer option, Truex. Strategy-wise, if you wanted to go to Elliott instead of Truex, there's a case for that as well. Obviously Truex should be much higher owned. I wouldn't say much higher owned, but higher owned than Chase Elliott. If something does happen to him again, like at Circuit of the Americas, you could, you get an advantage then over the field if you don't have him. But at the same time, if you don't have him and he has just a normal race and an incident-free race, you're behind because he's going to put up a massive score. So starting off the lineup with Martin Truex Jr. After how my brain works when I start building a lineup, I pick a high dollar guy usually, and then I go and look at the low dollar guys. So there's a couple that pique my interest this week. I wouldn't go down to the back markers of James Davison, Scott Heckert. Like these guys aren't, unless there's a bunch of wrecks, they're not going to move up much, and there shouldn't be a bunch of wrecks at Sonoma. We typically haven't seen that. More likely to see mechanical issues, and we're not going to see half the field blow up or have transmission issues. So it's hard for me to see or to roster those back markers. Davison's the best road course racer back there. He starts 32nd. I'd say his ceiling's about 29th on a just a normal race. So no massive scores there. I'd rather go to someone like a Ryan Preece if you want to dip down. He starts Preece starts 27th and just looking at his road course record, 15th at Circuit of the Americas, 9th at Daytona Road Course, 14th at Charlotte Roval last year. So 3 straight top 15 finishes. You know, if he can pull off a top 20 finish starting 27th, that's going to be a pretty good points day for a guy that's $6,500. Ben Rhodes, I don't really know much about him, and I don't trust that equipment, so not liking him. Corey LaJoie, I think, starts way too high. I don't trust Anthony Alfredo. Bubba Wallace is not good at road course races at all. Maybe this is the time he surprises, but since he's in technically Gibbs equipment now, but he's never finished better than 21st at a road course. So it's going to be a big pass from me. So you get into Eric Jones, which we talked about a little bit before. I just don't see a ton of place differential upside for him. If I'm going to go in that price range, yeah. So remember these good finishes here in Gibbs equipment, and then Daytona Road Course here. This is the Clash when he finished 8th. There was only 16 cars in that race, 21. So if I'm going to go down there, I'm probably going to take either Priest or Michael McDowell. So McDowell starts 21st. Very solid road course racer. Finished 7th at Circuit of the Americas, 8th at Daytona Road Course. Last year he finished 10th at Daytona Road Course, 12th at Charlotte Roval. My only concern is specifically here at, and I'm going to pull up a second tab here and look at Sonoma specifically. He's never had a very good race here at Sonoma. So that's my only hesitation with McDowell. 14th here in 2017, he was in that Levine car. So obviously gets a bump there with Gibbs, but not great numbers, but could definitely surprise some this weekend. Newman, not great at road course races. So let's Stenhouse starts too high, not great. Suarez could surprise. I'm kind of just going through these low dollar guys here. Suarez, he was obviously decent in Gibbs equipment, a couple top 5s, but instead of paying $7,400 for Suarez, I'd rather just come down and grab Priest or McDowell, Austin Dillon starts 6th, way too high. He's not that good of a road course racer. I think he has like 1 top 15 finish. And then, now we're getting into the chalkier picks. Russ, Chastain, Chase Briscoe. So Chastain obviously doesn't have much of a Cup Series history. So basically 39th at Daytona Road Course, so he wrecked out this year. Finished 4th at Circuit of the Americas. Again, we're not really putting a ton of weight into that finish. But he was decent. So all these, 2019, 2018 races were in backmarker equipment at 15. So he finished 22nd, 27th, 24th. I could definitely see Chastain finishing, his normal top 20. That's what we're used to him. But I really like Chase Briscoe. He was strong at the Daytona Road Course earlier this year, the actual race, and then finished 6th at Circuit of the Americas. Again, that's not putting a ton of stock into it, but he did finish 6th, and he was strong most of the day. So let's throw Briscoe on there. That leaves us 29,400. So we'll do this lineup with Elliott. So with Truex and with Elliott. So you throw Elliott on there. That leaves 16,600 for the last 2 spots. What if we did Chastain? Leaves us $8,800 for the last spot. I do like Chris Buescher this week, but I don't like him in Slingshot, if that makes sense. I don't like him enough to finish top 10 this week. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. So you could pick Tyler Reddick again. not huge upside, in my opinion. Cole Custer is definitely a sleeper. You look at his record on road courses in the Cup Series. He finished 9th at the Charlotte Roval last year, 13th at Daytona Road Course this year. I actually like Custer quite a bit. So if I was going to do this lineup with, Chastain, Briscoe, Truex, and Elliott, I'm probably going to throw Custer on there and roll with it. You could make a case for DiBenedetto, but don't love it. But honestly, if I'm doing Chase Elliott and Martin Sherex Jr., I'm not doing Chastain. I'm sticking with Briscoe. Probably coming down here and grabbing Priest. And then instead of Custer, jumping up and grabbing Christopher Bell. Starting 20th. In that Gibbs car, he won the Daytona Road Course this year. And that gives you enough. You could, if you don't want to go Priest, you could go Jones. And also, if you don't want to go Christopher Bell, you could go Kurt Busch, who starts 30th. So Kurt Busch, yeah, he sucks this year, but again, this is, road courses are where the driver talent comes into play a lot more. Finished 4th at Daytona Road Course this year, 4th at Charlotte Roval last year. Solid, typically a solid top 10 driver. So when you're playing that place differential game, him starting 30th, I'd still rather have Bell. But if you wanted to go and grab, come up and grab Suarez, or if you want to have enough cap to do McDowell, you're gonna have to go to Kurt over Bell, or you could do Bell and then instead of Briscoe go Chastain, and then you could get McDowell. So you could go Chase Elliott, Truex, Bell, Chastain, McDowell, or Elliott, Truex, Bell, Briscoe, Priest. If you wanted to not go Chase Elliott and you wanted to go, one of these, the guys right below the tier of Elliott and Truex, like I said, I really like Kyle Busch this week. I think Logano's a strong play. I don't think he's as strong of a play as Kyle Busch, but he has higher place differential upside. But if you throw Kyle Busch on here, he starts 5th, leaves you $1,600. And if you keep Bell on there, you could cut Priest off and go up and grab Busch or Chastain. I'd probably go Chastain there. Do I like this lineup more than the last one? No, I still think going McDowell or Priest into the lineup is probably going to be what I end up going with. But you could also come down and grab like a Ryan Blaney, who has he has a win or two, one win on a road course. He won the Charlotte Roval. He's been top 10 at Watkins Glen and Sonoma here back in 2017. 3rd at Sonoma in 2019, 5th at Watkins Glen 2019. Could definitely challenge for a top 5. $10,700 in this game is a pretty solid price for him. If you grab him, you could then, you stick with Briscoe and Bell. Gives you enough to get Reddick, or you could drop, so you could go Truex, Blaney, Bell, Reddick, Briscoe. You could also switch Truex to Chase Elliott since you have the cap room there. Or you go Truex, Byron, Bell, Kurt Busch, Briscoe, and go. Not much place differential upside for Byron, but definitely top 5 finish upside. And then there's also Alex Bowman there, who is surprisingly a very good road course racer. He starts, where does Bowman start? He starts 7th. Look at this. I was pleasantly surprised that Alex Bowman has been this good at road course races, because he doesn't pop into my head at first as, someone that is that great at them. But 8th at Circuit of the Americas, 10th at Daytona Road Course, 8th at Charlotte Roval last year, 12th at Daytona Road Course last year. 2019, he finished 2nd at Charlotte Roval. He's got a 4th at Charlotte Roval. Seems to run a little bit better at the Rovals than he did at Watkins Glen and Sonoma, but it's been a couple years since we've raced at these tracks, so Still should be a solid top 10. My algorithm has Bowman projected to finish 7th, so definitely an option there if you wanted to go that route. But yeah, I think Christopher Bell, Kurt Busch, both great plays here in this mid-price range. I love Chase Briscoe this week. Obviously, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, all solid plays. Chastain, you're just hoping for place differential. And then lower dollar guys, I like McDowell and Priest. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope it was educational, and good luck at Sonoma on Sunday, the Toyota Save Mart 350. See ya.